Dear students, we are in the fourth part of the topic wrist and hand complex biomechanics. So we have understood that the differentiation of the radiocarpal and mid-carpal joints are basically as a different joint is basically due to the separate synovial capsule and synovial lining which are present in the radiocarpal. The synovial lining is comparatively the capsule is loose synovial capsule, and here you have a separate joint capsule and synovial lining for the mid-carpal as well as the and then we have the next joint which is the carpo-metacarpal joint. The midcarpal joint surfaces are complex with an overall reciprocally concave convex configuration. If you take the joint surfaces of the midcarpal joints, that is the joints between the proximal carpal row and the distal carpal row, are comparatively complex. Why? Because they are not of a smooth, uniform shape. They have a concave convex configuration like a S-shaped configuration. The complexity of the surfaces and ligamentous connections, however, simplify its movements. So the complexity of the surface is basically to make the movements more simple, or to make the movements more effective and useful. So even though the surfaces or the articular surfaces are complex, the because of those articular surfaces, complex articular surfaces, the movements in the wrist joint is simplified. Now we'll go to the ligaments of the wrist complex. Together we are talking about the ligaments here. We are not separately studying trying to understand the ligaments as a radiocarpal ligaments, midcarpal ligaments. So here trying to understand the ligaments of the wrist complex together. The ligaments of the wrist complex are designated either as extrinsic or intrinsic. Basically, we can divide or classify these ligaments into extrinsic ligaments and intrinsic ligaments. The extrinsic ligaments are those that connect the carpals to the ulna or radius. We are calling ligaments extrinsic when they connect the carpal bones to the radius or ulna. In that scenario, we call it as the extrinsic ligaments, or to the metacarpals distally. So either the ligaments which are connecting from the proximal carpal row to the radius or ulna is called as extrinsic. Also, if the ligaments connecting from the distal carpal row to the metacarpals, then they are also called as extrinsic ligaments. All other ligaments which are connecting between the ligaments which connect to each other between the carpal bones or intercarpal ligaments are called as the intrinsic ligaments. So the extrinsic ligaments are those that connect the carpals to the radius or ulna proximally or to the metacarpals distally. The intrinsic ligaments are those that interconnect the carpals themselves and are known as the intercarpal or interosseous ligaments. Novak and Logan found the intrinsic ligaments to be stronger and less stiff than the extrinsic ligaments. It has been, according to Novak and Logan, the intrinsic ligaments are more stronger than the extrinsic ligaments but comparatively less stiffer. They concluded, Novak and Logan concluded that the intrinsic ligaments lie within the synovial lining and therefore must rely on synovial fluid for nutrition rather than contiguous vascularized tissue as to the extrinsic ligaments. That another difference between the extrinsic and intrinsic ligaments are the extrinsic ligaments are separated by blood circulation extrinsically, but because the intrinsic ligaments are inside the synovium, that is, it's an intrasynovial ligament, their nutrition is actually from the synovial fluid. They don't depend on vascularity. The extrinsic ligaments therefore are more likely to fail but also have better potential for healing and help protect the slower to heal intrinsic ligaments by accepting forces first. So even though the extrinsic ligaments have depend on vascular supply, but they may sustain injury more mostly, but they have a likely chance of healing faster because of the vascularization compared to the non-vascularized intrinsic ligaments, and okay, then which are supplied nutrition by the synovial fluid. So we'll go to the ligaments. The ligaments are basically the main classification is extrinsic and intrinsic, and then we will study them as the volar carpal and the dorsal carpal ligaments. On the volar surface of the wrist complex, the numerous intrinsic and extrinsic ligaments are variously described by either composite or separate names. Composite means name of the all the combined attachment compositely, or separate name depending on the investigator. The names have been given by the investigators. Talesnik organized the volar extrinsic ligaments into two groupings. According to Talesnik, the anterior extrinsic ligaments are divided into two groups: radiocarpal and ulnar carpal, meaning that volar radiocarpal and volar ulnar carpal ligaments, according to Talesnik. The composite ligament known as the volar radiocarpal ligament is described most commonly as having three distinct bands. So combinedly, we call it the ligament which we call as the anterior radiocarpal or the volar radiocarpal has three distinct bands. They consist of the radio scaphoid, that is between the radius scaphoid and the capitate, so called as a radio capitate, or because they start from radius and end in capitate, they are otherwise also called as radio capitate. Short and long radio lunate, that is a radio lunate tricutor, which is all covering the three proximal bones of the radius, then the lunate and the tricutal, excluding the scaphoid, and the radioscapholunate ligaments. So radioscaphocapitate, short and long radiolunate, and radioscapholunate ligaments. The radioscapholunate ligament was once described as the most important stabilizer of the proximal pole of the scaphoid. The radioscapholunate ligament was once described as the most important stabilizer of the proximal pole of the scaphoid, and disruption of it may lead to issues of scaphoid instability. Radial collateral ligament may be considered an extension of the volar radiocarpal ligament and capsule. So we have these ligaments. Radial collateral ligament is also sometimes considered as the volar radiocarpal ligament and the capsule together. Now when we go through you have the figure here. You have all the volar ligament on one side and all the dorsal ligament on the other side. So here you can see the ligaments such as the radiolunate ligament between the radius and the lunate bone. Then you have the radioscaphoid, the radios going to attaching to the scaphoid bone, that is the radioscaphoid bone. And then you have this is the radiocapitate, radius to the capitate bone, radiocapitate. Then this is the lateral ligaments, that is the radial collateral ligament, and you have the radial collateral ligament which is on the lateral part of the wrist joint. Here you can see the ulno-lunate, between the ulna and the lunate. Then you also can see the ulnar meniscus homologue, which we have already seen in the earlier pictures. You have the intercarpal ligaments such as the lunotracheotral. You have the lunotracheotral here, and also the V deltoid ligaments, which is actually the ligament which is connecting between the lunate, the between this bone which is a lunate, and then connecting to the capitate, which is important distal carpal bone, and also from the the ligaments which we also have is the tracheal bone, which is also attaching to the capitate here also. So sorry, scaphoid. This is a scaphoid on the radial side, scaphoid to capitate, and then you have the lunate to capitate. These together to these ligaments, even though they are separate ligaments, they act as together. They stabilize the capitate in center from the lateral, sorry, the medial and the, excuse me, yeah, the cursor is here. This is the lunate bone and this is the scaphoid bone, and this is the capitate, which is the distal middle of the distal carpal. So the medial, from the medial to the center, from the lateral to the, from the scaphoid to the capitate, this stabilization ligament is called as the V deltoid ligament because of the V shape. So they will pull the capitate into the middle of the together they stabilize it. They form this part of the capitate forms the central piece of the whole wrist joint. This is a very important bone, large bone also. So the ulnar collateral ligament also, which is present here, which is also together with the meniscus homologue. Then so these are the ligaments. So dorsal area, you have the dorsal, which is a ligament which is posterior and which is going through all the intercarpal bones. Here you can see that they start from the tracheal and then they are traveling through the trapezium, trapezoid, capitate, and hamate is there. The tracheal bone is also here. So they travel all through the distal row and also to the tracheal. Here the the other attachment, here you can see the scaphoid here, and here this is the radio. So this is because it is attaching to between the carpal bones, such as the trapezium, trapezoid, capitate, hamate, and then tracheal. So they are all attaching only in the intrinsic, that is intercarpal. So they are called as the dorsal intercarpal ligament. And here we have the dorsal radiocarpal between the radius and the, and then they are attaching to the tracheal. So dorsal carpal ligaments. So dorsally, the major wrist ligament is the dorsal radiocarpal ligament. Essentially, the ligament as a whole converges on the tracheotrum from the distal radius with possible attachment along the way to the lunate and lunotracheal interosseous ligament. The second dorsal ligament is the dorsal intercarpal ligament, which courses horizontally from the tracheotrum to the lunate, scaphoid, trapezium, and the two dorsal ligaments together form a horizontal V that contributes to the radiocarpal stability, notably stabilizing the scaphoid during wrist range of motion. The dorsal wrist ligaments are taut with wrist flexion. The dorsal ligaments will be tight when the wrist goes for flexion, and when they will go, the volar ligaments will go for taut when the wrist goes for extension. So now we'll summarize the ligaments together in the ligaments of the wrist, that is a mid-carpal joint structure. The ligaments are, we will divide them into extrinsic the ligament. Extrinsic ligament means ligaments which are attaching from the radius or ulnar to the carpal bone, or the carpal bones to the metacarpal bones. Intrinsic ligaments have to be the ligaments with attachment between the, only between the carpal bones. In the intrinsic, the extrinsic ligaments, we have radiocarpal ligament. Then we have the okay, in the radiocarpal ligament, we have radial collateral ligament, which is already we have seen on the lateral side. Then we have the volar collateral, that is a radial collateral ligament itself. We have a volar, the anterior aspect of the radial collateral ligament. The anterior aspect has both superficial and deep part. Then in the radiocarpal ligament, we have radioscaphocapitate, we have the radiolunate ligament and radioscapholuate ligament, which are the three bands we have already described regarding the radiocarpal ligaments. So in the extrinsic ligament, you have the radiocarpal ligament, which the one major part of the radiocarpal is the radiocollateral ligament, and then the volar collateral ligament. In the volar collateral ligament, the radial collateral ligament has a anterior as well as radial side, that is a lateral side. The lateral side is what we call as the radial collateral ligament, and the anterior part of the radiocarpal ligament, which is also part of the collateral part, This anterior collateral ligament can be divided into superficial and deep. In the radiocarpal ligaments, otherwise